Alright, today we're going to do a tutorial on how to use a chrome filter on text, also using Gaussian blur filter and layer styles. So let's get started. First we're going to open a new file. We're going to change our file to inches, and let's make a file that's 8 inches wide by 4 inches tall. We'll use 150 dots per inch, create a new file. First thing we want to do is change the background color from white to black. So with the background selected, go to File, Fill, and pick black. Alright, we got black. Now we want to put some text on. I recommend, let's make sure we're using a bold text. So let's click our text tool, put text down. I happen to have Futura armed condensed. You can use that, or you can use any bold Arial black or anything like that. So Futura condensed. I'm gonna just use a different word. I'm gonna go with actual Chrome, all in capitals. Chrome is my word. Let's resize it so it fills up the most of the page. Do our transform tool, Command T will bring up the transform tool. Let's make it bigger. Let's center it. I have snapping enabled, so it'll snap to the center. Now we have our text, and now we want to apply the Chrome filter. So we want to go to our text layer. We want to make sure we're going to double click on our text layer, not the background layer. We're not going to double click on the word itself, and we're not going to double click on the icon of the layer. We're going to double click on the gray area of the layer. Double click, that brings up our layer styles panel. We're going to click bevel and emboss. We're going to leave it all set. We're going to go down to depth, put that to 1000. Let's bring our size up to 30. Let's go, and we'll leave soften as it is. We'll go down to the gloss contour section, tap the down arrow, and we can scroll through these options, and we can see how it affects our font. I like this one for this project, so that's the one I'm selecting. Then we want to go to a gradient. We're going to add a gradient color overlay as well. So let's highlight the gradient overlay. Let's double click the gradient panel. It should bring up a bunch of default gradient colors. I'm going to choose, let's all choose the purples. In the purples, the third one over, let's choose this purple and blue gradient color and say okay. So we have that gradient overlay. You can mess with these settings later as you like, but for now we'll leave it as they are. And then we're done with this part so far. So now we got our gradient, we got our chrome effect, we have a gradient color on it, and now we want to create some sparks, some like shiny widgets that we can put on top of the text itself. So we want to go and create a new layer. We'll go create a new layer. Down on the bottom is create a new layer. We're going to go to the toolbar and find our rectangular tool, and we're going to select the polygon tool. So go to our toolbar, select the polygon tool. Then we're going to go up to its features on the top row, its settings on the top row of your program. We're going to go to our fill color, make sure that's white. We want our fill color to be white. We want our stroke, we don't want any stroke, so make that sure that's set to none. No stroke color. No stroke color. Then we want to go over to our polygon sides. We want 4 sides. Yours might be set to more at the moment, but change it to 4 sides for your polygon. And then there's this gear sprocket that we want to click on, and we want to go down to star ratio and change that to 5%. 5% is what we want there. All right, now holding shift, we can go to our artboard and drag a shape. It's this new star kind of shape that we're gonna make. Go ahead and hit enter once you've made it. And now we're gonna put a filter layer on that shape. So go up to our filters panel, go down to blur. We're going to look for Gaussian blur, select Gaussian blur, and then we're going to want to convert to smart object. So let that happen, convert to smart object. Make sure your radius is set to 3. Go ahead and click OK. So your radius is now set at 3. Now we want to create a new layer again. We're going to create a new layer, and we're going to create a little more shine in the center of the layer. So we want to select our brush tool, select the brush tool, and then look at the top bar for all your brush settings. The second drop down arrow over, we want to make sure we're select the soft round brush. It'll be in your general brushes. It's the first brush in your general brushes. We want to make sure it's set to 40 and then hardness at 0. And then as we move over, we want to make sure our opacity is set to 60. So make sure all those things are set that way. And then you'll see your brush size, your little brush circle. So then let's find the center of our star shape and just tap once, and it'll paint a little extra shine idea in the center of your brush. So I'm gonna go back to my move tool, click that so I don't paint anymore. I'm gonna select, holding shift, I'm gonna select the layer that we just made with the paintbrush and then the polygon layer. So I have both selected. I'm gonna right click on those layers, and then I'm gonna scroll down and it says merge layers. So I'm gonna create those two layers together. So now we can copy and paste as many of these objects as we want. So let's Command All, Command C, Command V. We copied and paste one more. Let's paste one more. So now it's already been copied, so let's paste another one. So we have 3 of them available. We can place them around our word as we like so. And if you select one of these layers too, and if you decide, you can free transform and change the size, but also skew it a little. Holding shift, you can skew it. Holding command allows you to pull one of the corners if you want it to kind of have more of a flare effect like this. So yeah, so you can do that if you like. Okay, now that we have all our spark layers where we want them, and we have our original text layer, we're gonna highlight all those layers, not including the background. We're gonna select all layers except for the background, and we're gonna go Option, Command, E, and it merges all those layers together and creates it as a new layer. And on this new layer, we're going to do our filter again. We're gonna go to Filter, Gaussian Blur, and let's leave it at radius 3 and hit OK. And then we're gonna go up to our layers panel and go look for lighten. For the layer style, we're gonna select lighten, and that allows, it gives the overall effect, just it softens up the overall effect of the word. So now we want to maybe make our background a little more interesting. So we're gonna create a gradient layer for our background and manipulate the gradient. Select the background layer. On the bottom of your layers panel, we're gonna select the create new fill layer. That's this one down here, this little circle shape. We'll select that, then go up to gradient, select gradient. It'll put a gradient layer above our background. Let's double click on our gradient bar again. And then let's go back to that same purple. Let's choose that same purple, but this time we're gonna change the blue to black. So click the little blue color below on the bottom of the gradient slider. Click that little square and then click the color picker so it opens up, and then we're gonna select black. So that changes that to black. Now we need to create a little bit of contrast between the background and your word. So let's go back to our original text layer, double click it again, open it up, go down to drop shadow, and we're gonna add a drop shadow behind it. So with this, we're gonna change the opacity to 100. We're gonna change the angle. Let's uncheck the global light if that's checked. Uncheck global light. Let's put it at 45 degrees. Let's put our distance at 15. Let's put our spread at 10. Let's put our size at 20. And then let's hit OK. And that gives a little bit of contrast between your text and the background. And now we are done. That's using a chrome filter in Photoshop with some other added attributes, adding a shine to your layers. Thanks for watching.